Welcome to El Parenting Podcast.
This is Amy,
Adriana,
and Jen. We'll share la locura and chaos on raising children. We'll cover a range of topics, including discipline, communication, education, health, and cultural traditions. We believe that parenting takes a village, and we're here to support you every step of the way. So grab un cafecito or wine, sit back, and join us for a laugh as we explore the joys and challenges of raising happy and healthy children.
welcome back to El Parenting Podcast. This is actually our first episode coming back from the summer. So hope you guys took a time to listen to all of our interviews with our hubbies to get their take on how was the journey for them. And now, we're just going to chat about like what is summer school and summer going in with all these kids and how we addressed having to be full-time working and also taking care of our kids, and what kind of we did, whether it was summer school or just current childcare or leaning on our family to help. So thank you again for tuning in and let's get started. Hello, ladies.
Hi. Good to see you guys again.
Buenos días.
Yeah, we're trying this new.
Oh shit, my thing is like freezing.
We're trying this new recording thing, and apparently, because this is our first time not recording together in one place. So hopefully the Wi-Fi, internet, and the computers will cooperate. But thank you, ladies, again for testing out this new application called Riverside. How's everybody doing?
I'm just gonna take pictures throughout the entire week, guys.
Oh shit, we lost her. You see, this is the fun part. I don't know what she pressed, but it's like the thing. So
I wonder if it's her Wi-Fi or something.
I don't know. So, but let's just keep going. It's part of the fun. So,
All right.
summer's fun. We lose Wi-Fi. What?
Yep. So, I didn't really do anything too fun this year. I started a new job in January, so there was no enough PTO accumulated for like a long vacation. So our kids went to summer camp, so
I mean,
nothing too
that's
exciting
like,
to report.
I think my kids would probably wanted to do summer camp, but we ended up just going to visit some family. And I have 4 kids, so summer camp is really expensive. And actually, like I was thinking, and at this woman's post went viral about how not everybody has the luxury or is able to have to pay for summer camp and the stress that it puts on families because it's not cheap. Like I was looking at a week of coding, and just one kid was like $500 for 1 week, and I'm like,
and you have to send lunch. They don't even give you lunch.
Yes. So imagínate, like it's freaking crazy, and we aren't able to pay for it. And I have 4 kids, and also like we get lucky that we have my stepdad comes to visit, so my mom lives with us and she provides like childcare. So I just kind of like toss the kids around between the grandparents and then try to make fun moments with them or plan activities. Let's take a pause real quick and see what happened with Jenny. Oye, mija, ¿qué te pasa?
Fucking bullshit. I don't know. It just and I didn't even touch anything.
You need to
Is
buy
that where you have your router?
I don't know where my router is. But I've been working from here for 2.5 weeks. Okay. I missed the whole conversation. Tremendo FOMO.
Don't worry, I'll catch you up. But the spirits don't want you to be on a recording podcast, I guess. The new house doesn't favor it.
No me gusta. I will sage later.
But listen, we were talking about, I was trying to tee it up, around this, like, how do we do in the summer? And Amy was mentioning that she just started a new job in January, so she doesn't have enough PTO to take a long vacation. And then I was telling her, like, we're talking about how expensive it is to do summer camp. And I was mentioning, like, we had Gabriel and Eva, like they wanted to do coding, but it was like $500 for 1 week, just 1 week. And it's like, okay, well,
how does that happen? Like, I mean, everybody pays for school differently or doesn't pay, if it's public school and whatever. I'm super brand new to this because last year was Billy's first year of school. And I'm pretty candid with like how much we spend because there's other people that spend more. There's other people that spend less. Like, I think it's something that should be talked about. Because I had no idea school was so freaking expensive. So we pay like $725 a month, which is not expensive at all for pre-K 4, according to a lot of other people. And now that she's going into kinder, it's like $900. But we looked into the summer camps in the same school. And like you said, Adriana, it was like $400 or $500 for a week. How do you go from a month expense to a week?
Yeah.
And I'm not like attacking my personal school, but it's like, concho.
So imagine, imagine like the people that work full time and don't make enough to even pay the $700 or $900 a month. Like that's a freaking car payment. I mean, depending on the car payment you have, but it's freaking crazy. Like I can't imagine paying that. We paid 600 and something for VPK, but Bjorn had that, VPK pass. So like he got 4 hours of instructional free and he's still until 3. He didn't even stay the whole day. And it was $600 something. And we had to send the lunch because it will be another added expense if we had to like, charge for them to feed them. So definitely kind of wild. And that's why we're like talking about that, that email like the lady that went viral because she wrote in her response that, in the summertime due to like, I don't know, what is it, like lack of childcare or childcare options that she was going to be slower to respond. And it makes me wonder, like I got lucky because I'm working from home and my husband works from home. And we have grandparents coming from, our Oscar's visiting from Mexico. So he's here to help. But still, I had to make time to spend with the kids and help them or shuffle them around, like spend time with my dad and my stepmom or spend time with my sister and even like take a road trip so that they would have fun, but still try to squeeze in all the work in between fun activities because I can't just send them to summer camp. Like I can't really afford it.
Right. And just for context, what happened in that article, the email or the signature in her email that went viral, this is what she wrote. I guess she got an email from one of her clients because she works from home and she's her own boss, and she, I guess, didn't respond within 24 hours and got a snarky email from a client. So she added this to her signature. She said, "Please note, I may be slower to respond to email in the months of June, July, and August due to the United States' inability to provide affordable childcare for working mothers." So there's a lot said there in that one line, but I mean, she's not wrong. I feel like a lot of moms feel that kind of pressure. And I don't know. The other countries are definitely more family friendly. I think we lost her again. Oh, I lost you, Adriana.
I'm still here. Amy, what did you do this summer? Like, what did you do with your kids?
Nothing. I mean, I don't want to say nothing. I mean, we did go to
nothing. I mean, like, what was childcare for you?
Oh, he went to summer camp. Yeah. And the lady that takes care of our daughter, she continues on like normal in the summer. So I had to put him in summer camp because expensive as it is, I don't have another option. So I'm kind of they twist my arm basically to he has to be somewhere, right? So yeah, the email signature is, obviously it was a dig at whoever emailed her that, but at the end of the day, she's not wrong. A lot of other countries will help subsidize the cost of childcare because it is very expensive. And the other alternative is to pay child care workers less. And as it is, they're not making an appropriate amount of money. So that's not fair either. So it's a tangled web for sure.
Can you guys hear me?
You were on mute for a second there.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, cool. I'll take this.
Are you
out.
still having breakfast?
Oh yeah, I'm stuffing myself. It's all the same. But to follow up with Amy's comments, like I remember one of my cousins at some point, when she had her daughter, it was cheaper for her to quit her full-time job and stay home with the baby than actually having to take her to childcare, because between the baby always getting sick, so she had to miss work, and having to pay for it, it was not worth it. So there's honestly that auto reply signature line or whatever has a lot to say and a lot to unpack. But it makes you really wonder what's happening with all the moms out there. I think that's why it went viral, because we all can relate in some capacity, and it's tough,
Yeah, our situation didn't change much from before Billy started school, because Bill didn't want to put her in summer camp or summer care or summer school. He wanted to just have her all summer and, do his own things with her, which was great. We did put her in tennis camp for 2 weeks, and that wasn't too bad. I think it was I don't know, $150 for the week, but that's only 9 to 11, and Bill's still there. Bill drops her off, sits in the bleachers and watches her, and then has lunch and whatever. But we'll see what the next coming years brings us, because maybe she wants to start voicing what she wants to do, right? So this summer we went on a cruise for her birthday. And after that, this child that just turned 5 says, "Why are you always planning my birthdays? When do I get to pick what I'm going to do?" So next year she'll probably be planning her own birthday and maybe her own summer plans too. Who knows?
Well, you better start saving for those plans. Yeah. That's the beauty of having one child. You can actually work around them. I have 4 kids. They will do what I tell them to do and what I can actually figure out. But to be fair, again, I have all the grandparents, and my sister lives in Tennessee. So we took a road trip to go see her, because she also recently got a 9-to-5 job, and she couldn't just take off like she always does and comes down here for a month or two. So it was a really fun experience. It was stressful because, as you all know, when you travel with kids, it's not like a really vacation. You have to do them, especially when you have 4 of them. But we had the grandparents help, and then I think it's just fun to get out of Florida, and just do different things.
I think there's a saying that's people with kids don't really vacation. You just take care of your kids in a different place.
Yep. That's the one.
Yeah, it is very, very true. So I think the other thing though that sucks though, it takes so long to drive out of Florida.
I know.
We did it in 4-hour stretches. We went to Cape Canaveral, and then we saw Nassau for a day and a half. And then we went to Savannah, and then we did a food tour, spent the night there and did a food tour. And then we went to my uncle's house near Atlanta. So that was another 4 hours. And then from there, we went to see my sister, which is 2 hours and a half, and spent 2 weeks with her. But it was this back and forth of, still you're driving 4 hours, and then River, the youngest one, doesn't travel well. So it could be stressful, and then, as a consultant, right, you still have to work around your client's schedule, and you don't want to just be oh, I'm living my best life. And then they think that you're not answering emails because you're living your best life, but it also can be all work. And that's why I'm a consultant anyway, so I can just do my own thing. But that's a whole different story we can get into, how do working, traveling moms do with all the kids in the summer or around life.
So I almost wonder, because the whole 3-month off for kids became a thing when back in the days of, when the United States was an agricultural country and the kids would basically have to plow the land and harvest and all that stuff. But now that doesn't exist anymore. So now there's actually some states that do school year round, with larger breaks in between. And I don't know if that would be any easier, less complex. I have no idea how that would look like. If it was for example, the whole month of December off, and then 2 weeks off in spring, 2 weeks off in the fall, like whatever that is, right? But would that be less burdensome? I don't know. But I know like other countries go to school year round with like bigger breaks in between.
I don't know. I think it would be just as difficult because I mean, look, it sounds amazing, but then also, oh gosh, all the people that went into like the teaching career, like I know my cousin, for example, she went into teaching so that she can have summers off, especially when she had the kids. But I guess that wouldn't change either because they would still have time off,
Right.
you know, in between.
Yeah, and I guess from a learning perspective, I have a lot of friends who are teachers. The benefit of that is that they lose less because imagine you go 3 months without seeing any kind of material. So the retention is a little bit better in that sense, but,
We have like a little summer school packet. I bought this little booklet. I think it's like for all ages or for all grades, starting in pre-K 4. And it's a summer pre-K 4 packet. And it's like a little book and you do 15 minutes a day. That's all. But it's kind of like a little refresher on what they've learned and then helping them come into the next grade.
yeah.
I wish you had told me about that because I think my little Bjorn Savage is going to struggle. Like I had him reading. I had the older kids sit down with him and read. And he's now in the age of like, Dad, I'm a genius. Or I'm 5. I know everything. So he's actually interested in the words and stuff. But we were trying to do spelling yesterday. And I don't think he remembers all his alphabet. And I was like, oh my God. And school starts next week. So we're late to the party, you know. And
He'll recoup. He'll be okay.
I mean, if it all fails, you know, we'll have the older kids do like summer. I mean, after school tutoring. I'll pull them to work. You know, so
I like it.
I just feel like this summer has just been a whirlwind. Like I don't know where it went. I feel like I just got them out of school, and then I feel now like they have to start school next week. Which, for context, we were living in Broward County and school starts on August 26th or 24th. And now we're moving to Palm Beach County and they start next week. So they lost like 2 weeks of summer pretty much, or 15 days of summer. But
Do they know that? Don't tell them.
are you kidding me? Like they're already traumatized as it is with the whole like moving schools and I feel really bad because Bjorn, we did the whole like kindergarten roundup on the school by this house in Broward. And he was like, I don't want to go to school. I don't want to do this, you know. And now he's being thrown into a new school. And we get to do the visit, but not until next Monday, which is right before school starts.
Yeah, it's a lot of changes. I have a lot to say about that. Like school wise, at least Billy's staying in the same school. So I'm happy that we're just taking it easy for kindergarten. A lot of parents in that same school chose to stick the kids in where they're for their whole entire elementary. But Bill and I didn't have the brain capacity to do that. We're like, let's just keep it simple one more year and leave her in ECC. But the move, because we moved as well, not different counties, just different cities. We went from the Gables to the beach, but Billy it was really tough on her. And I had no idea it was going to be this hard because Bill and I are used to moving constantly. Like we've been together 19 years and I think we counted the other day that we've moved 15 times. So for us, it's normal. You know, we're in this business of real estate. We fall in love with other places and we're like, oh, let's go over there. Plus this beach move was 20 years in the making, right? We were like dying to live on the sand. We can walk downstairs, go straight to the beach and the pool anytime. And so far, so good. But, I didn't realize it was going to affect Billy so much. And when we went to what we call the Yellow House, which was the Gables house for our final walkthrough, I decided to take her with. We went as a family. I mean, we do everything as a family. And she gets off the car and just tears running down her face. I'm gonna miss the Yellow House so much. Why can't we just pick it up and take it to the beach? And I'm like, girl, you are right on point. Like, I wish we could do that. But we can't. Pobrecita. Bueno, luckily Bill had a great idea that this has worked for us in the past. So this is the second time that this works, and I would highly recommend it to anybody. And we didn't make this up. Like, we found it somewhere on Instagram like a year and a half ago, where anytime we would go to a store, Billy wanted to buy something, and she still does, but at least a little less. So what we started doing is, hey, take a picture of everything you want to buy, and we're going to put it on your Christmas list, or we're going to put it on your birthday list. You know, that never happens, but it doesn't matter. It's like the illusion of, hey, I'm going to take pictures and video of stuff. I'm going to hold on to it. So as Bill's seeing her cry, he said, why don't you get my phone and take a video and pictures of the house so you'll never forget it? And for half an hour, still tears down her face, taking pictures and video. And it was tough. It was tough for her, and then it was tough for us because I didn't see it coming. I don't know if it was like a complete mom fail, but I thought it was just such a happy move, and all these changes are going to be so great. And I posted about this on my personal Instagram, where my mom had said, Jen, drop Billy off the day that you're moving, and she can do a sleepover. You can pick her up the next day. And my stupid response was, oh no, I just want her to experience this with us. I should have kept her like a little sheltered from it. Like, maybe she wouldn't have been so emotional. But the good thing is that 2.5 weeks later, now, like yesterday, she's like, you know, this beach house is so much better than the yellow thing. So I'm like, okay, good. We're making progress. We're going into that direction of this is better than the yellow house.
She felt like it was an upgrade. That's good. I was going to say that, it's really common, you know, a lot of parents decide to move in the summer precisely because, you know, you have more time to move. But those transitions are hard. I mean, even for adults, when we moved from our first apartment, to, you know, we didn't have kids at the time. We moved to our first house. I did cry. Like, you know, there's a lot of memories there, and I'm an adult, so I can only imagine how that is for a child. You know, they struggle with transitions a little bit more so. And changing schools. Like, my son is going to a new school this year, so I already know that that's coming. It's a brand new teacher, a brand new face, a brand new class, a brand new park, a brand new everything. Who is this person who's taking care of me now? You know, who are these kids I've never seen before? So, I'm already kind of prepared that the first 2 weeks are, he's gonna be in his feels for sure. But like you said, like they get over it, you know, and they adapt. So hopefully all good transitions for everybody here.
You have now that you said like you're prepared, do you have some feedback on how did you prepare, or sort of how are you going to address him? Like, I don't know, tips that you can share, because I do need help. I'm not prepared.
Sure. So I think we've always been like upfront with him in the sense with anything. Like, when he's going to the doctor, we tell him like, okay, you're going to the doctor, they're going to check your ears. Like, so he was a little bit smaller, and we would play with the ear thermometer so that he would know what was coming. Or like, even if I know he's going to get shots, I tell him, look, they're going to give you shots. It is going to hurt, but it's going to pass. So kind of like prepping them in that sense. I did the same when our daughter was on her way, when I was pregnant. Like, we bought him a little book or whatever. So, but I think with small kids and school, I think their biggest thing is, who's going to take care of me, right? Like, that's the fear, because you're their caretaker. So kind of like prepping them like, oh, this is your teacher. You're going to have lunch with her. She's going to take care of you. You're going to have this. So almost kind of giving them a preview, I feel like, has helped. I mean, I think they're still going to go through it. And I think if we move up in the age group, middle school is a very, I mean, you know this, I don't have to tell you. Middle school and high school transitions can be hard for them too, because they might be going, in your case, they're going to a school where these kids might be have known each other since elementary school. They have their own cliques. You know, they're from a different area.
I like that you're giving them a heads up about it. Like, we did that with Billy a lot, especially with the whole doctor thing. And now with school, we take a little bit of a different, yes, we still do that, right? But then randomly we can just be walking down the street, right? And I'm like, my gosh, I'm so excited that school starts next week or next month. And Billy's like, oh my God, I know, I'm dying to see Miss Nicole, you know? So I'm like, oh, good. And then I just drop those little things. Like, today we bought this super cool thing on Amazon. I should link it somewhere on our podcast, Instagram page. It's like a magnet, watercolor thing that comes off, and it's a sticker. So we just put it on the wall, and that's where we're practicing our ABCs and our spelling and all this stuff. And she's like halfway through it, and I'm like, how great is it going to be when you start school next month and you're going to be able to sit with all your friends and do this? She's like, I know, I can't wait. So we just do like that positive reinforcement, and it seems to work so far for right now.
Yeah. And I think about middle school and high schoolers a lot because, you know, obviously we do have listeners who have older children. I feel like, again, with my pop culture references. So I watched the Wonder Years. I don't know if you guys remember that show.
Yeah.
And if you don't know, it's a show, basically, he's in middle school and he's basically narrating his life as an adult. Like he's narrating like what his childhood was like. And he says something, you know, in middle school, the way you see yourself is the way others see you. Right. So then they have that whole other pressure of like, if I think I'm cool, if my friends think I'm cool, or I think I'm a nerd, if my friends think I'm a nerd, right? So how do you navigate that, especially when they're transitioning to a new school, you know, and then they have their hormones. And like you said, Adriana, like your son is 5 and already saying, oh yeah, I know it all. Yeah. They go through that again. And then in high school, they start dating and all of that. So it's a lot of stuff for them, and kind of remembering what that's like, I think helps us be a little more empathetic too. Because heartbreak is real, especially that first one when you're in high school.
Yeah. Listen, I'm not ready for high school yet. I'm barely ready for like next week. So I I think that at some point, I haven't talked to Bjorn about school yet because, like Jenny, what you said about the move, he's acting crazier than usual. And I think it's like we're taking furniture out and he's really concerned about his toys and his things and where they're going. So we're moving from this house, which is like a normal house in Broward County, you know, like just the cookie cutter house, to 5 acres in like the middle of nowhere. It's close enough to things, but you know, still 5 acres. And Gabriel, this is the house that he knows. Like he's been in this house since he was 18 months old. And he actually cried. Like he started crying on the way because I dropped him off with my dad and my stepmom so that I could finish like loading the rooms. And he started crying. And he was really sensitive about leaving the house, which, you know, we got lucky that we don't have to sell our house. So, and then Bjorn too is like very concerned about the house. And Eva's like, can we come back? And I was like, well, we'll still have it. So I think that's kind of like consolation. Like we didn't have to sell it. So it's still ours. And there's just a new family who's going to take care of it for us. So that's kind of helped a little, but it's tough, you know, the move. I moved a lot, you know, when I was a kid growing up. We changed countries, which was like even more traumatic, right? Like not moving counties, but changing countries. So I was glad to just stay put in one, you know, house. I thought I was going to be here forever and ever. And then things changed. And now we're moving to 5 acres, which I hope that I live there until I die and they wheel me out of that house, you know, in a body bag because I do not want to move again. Like, I know it sounds super like grim, but I fucking hate moving. Like this has been so stressful because it's packing all the stuff. You know, it's 11 years of crap that we have collected. Plus, you know, there's 6 people in this house, counting my mother. And then my mom fell on Tuesday and has a compression fracture. So nobody can watch River while we're packing and moving. So we've had to have this sort of, you know, kind of like taking turns. And then George's mom came on Thursday to help us and left yesterday, Sunday. And it's just been so crazy. So I can't even talk about school next week. Like I haven't bought supply list. I haven't seen if they need uniforms. There's no uniforms on the school, but they have a school code. So I haven't even gone through the closets to see what they need. I know Bjorn needs shorts that are not like sweatpanty looking because it's not a school code. But I can't do any of that until I'm moved. And then Monday, maybe I can go and do the school shopping before it starts on Thursday. And then it's about I have to work and I have clients and so I will start on the massaging the school prospects like after Thursday when we're in the house and be like, oh, we're going to go to school next week. And then, do what you guys are talking about, kind of like throw them through the process and see if that helps.
Oh, that's good. Now you have a plan in place. And it's okay. It's okay that it's closer to when school starts than right now. And imagine everything that you just said, right? Like you vented a whole bunch of how you're feeling with this house move and working and everything else. I can't imagine these little bodies, medium, small, right? And big, because you have a little bit of everything. It's going to be hard. And there's going to be an aftermath to it too. So we have to be ready for that part. And hopefully it's good and it's positive and, the turnover is fine. And I really like what you pointed out. It's great that you didn't have to sell your house. So you have that little backup to be able to tell your kids, like, that house is there. It'll always be there. It's always ours. It's just somebody else is taking care of it right now. So that's really good. It'll be okay.
I like the spin of someone's taking care of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not just sitting there rotting. You know what I mean? Like someone's there loving the house the way we did, right? But I also think like not only preparing them, but preparing yourself, because like for me, like I already know that those 2 weeks, like his sleep might be off. He might tell me, no, mommy, I don't want to go to school those first couple weeks. Like I already know it's coming. So, there's no surprise. I'm not going to get as frustrated. I will get, knowing myself, I'll be like, just get your shoes on. But like already knowing that it's coming, I feel like will help me like be more understanding of this transition for him. And maybe a little less agitated. I don't know. Maybe not. Who knows?
I'm hoping kinder is going to be just like pre-K, because I do feel lucky that Billy likes school and she adjusted so well that I was worried. Like genuinely the first 2 days, I'm like, why doesn't she miss us? Why didn't she cry? Why is she so eager to get to school? But I was the same way. I loved school since I started in kinder, because I don't think we had pre-K back then. And actually I was talking to Adriana about this earlier. Like we did go to school all year because I loved school so much that I went to summer camp or summer school. Does that even exist anymore?
I think so. I know. I mean, if you're failing something, I think you have to do something to kind of.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Like back then it wasn't, if you were failing back then, it was like,
right.
Your parents didn't have anywhere to put you. So you went to school.
Yeah, that happened to me too.
I never failed. I didn't have to go to summer school.
I didn't fail either.
No, me neither. It was like, oh, okay, you're still going though.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You're definitely still going.
I mean, that's a good solution. Just keep them in school if you're going to, if it's free. I don't know. Did they have to pay for that, or is that?
No.
I couldn't tell you. I imagine.
No.
We should ask. You guys should ask if they have to.
I know the answer. No, they didn't have to pay anything. The only thing that they needed to pay was school lunch, and it was like, I think it was like $1.25 or something like that.
Oh my God, yes. You're just flashback big time. Like I remember punching in my little number.
I mean, I'll tell you that my summers growing up, because I was in Latin America, my mom would ship us to my dad who lived in Tampa. And then with my stepmom and her 2 kids. So they worked full time. So they would shuffle us around family members. It's like we would go to grandma's house, and then we would go, so like her niece Maria would watch us sometimes. And then they would take time off and we would go to like Universal or we'll go to Disney. But we always had, somebody watching us that wasn't like a summer camp or anything like that. And I actually wonder if it was because summer camp is so expensive that they couldn't pay for, for 4 kids to like go to. But I think also like, I really like spending time with family, and we would spend time with cousins. So I don't know, if I could afford it, I don't know if I would still put them in summer camp, because I like the whole being with family part, because I had such a great experience doing that in the summers. Maybe I would do like 1 week of coding or something that they're really excited about, but I don't know if I would do the whole summer, just because spending time with family and cousins seems to be like so much more fun. Even though this summer we had some pending activities that we didn't do with like CB and her kids and even with Jenny and Vanessa, but it was partly because of us suddenly buying a house and moving, which was not even like expected. It just kind of came up out of nowhere in a way, but it was planned. So
all I'm hearing is that next year summer, I think we need to ship our kids to each other's houses. Like Send all my niece and all my nephews over for like a week. And then I'll ship Billy over there the next week.
I don't know. Bailey can live without you guys for a week. I know Bjorn can't. He's already like, it's like he was telling my dad that because he doesn't sleep over, he just comes, hangs out, and then he told my dad that he's too little. Maybe when he's older, he'll sleep over. And then I left him with my stepsister my sister to watch him while we were like talking to the sellers, and he like cried so much like because I was leaving him. And mind you, he's with my sister that he knows that hangs out and the cousins and brother and sister. He was losing his shit. And then he's like, okay, fine, I'll stay with dad. And I'm like, oh no, dad is staying with he's leaving with me too, so I'm so sorry. So I had to blackmail him because we were running late. So I was like, okay, I'll get you a surprise. Go and pick something with your aunt online and we'll figure it out. So I know there's going to be some bribing next week for school. I am not ashamed to say it. Bribing is in the horizon, but it's so much for me that it is for him. And I guess I should have that conversation, Amy, with George about being more patient and preparing himself mentally. I mean, if anybody heard the podcast with him, you can all imagine that he needs just as much work about preparing for school.
Prepping him, yeah.
So you need to prepare George to prepare Bjorn.
I mean, I hadn't thought about that. So I definitely need to prepare George for the week that we have ahead. I don't know if you can hear River crying, but he's like probably
little dinosaur.
He sounds like a screeching dinosaur.
We haven't heard of Pumita today.
No, Pumita's in the other room. She got a little bit sick last night, so daddy's taking care of her right now. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, I think community is what I'm hearing, right? Like, ship them around round robin style. When I was growing up, it was my grandma would watch me. Sometimes like one of my uncles at the time lived in Texas, so I went there for 2 weeks. Like, just kind of figure it out because like you said, it's like summer camp is just sometimes so out of reach. But I mean, those are good memories too, like being with family, like you said, Adriana. I think that's probably actually very common, if you're blessed enough to have that kind of village, as we say. But
yeah, when I didn't go to summer school, it was casa de abuela every day. Luckily, she was like super close and lived practically down the street from us. And then we had all our friends would always come over because our parents were the parents that really didn't let us go anywhere. But all of our friends were always allowed to come to our house, day, night, sleepovers. It didn't matter. So we played, street football and we would walk to the park and we rode our bikes and it was great. I remember creating some wonderful memories. And I think that's exactly what we're trying to do for Billy, which is one of the reasons I think Bill didn't want to put her in school, to create those memories with her. So like right now they're at the beach and at the pool because she wanted to go to the pool, beach, pool, beach, pool, beach. I'm like, I don't know how that's going to work out. You guys take care of that, but they're creating their own memories. And that's how we started our summer. So the day that school finished, we packed the car and we headed to Orlando. We didn't do any of the parks or Disney stuff, but we headed over with a couple of our friends and the guys played golf and the girls hung out with the kids and played in the pool. And it was a perfect start to the summer. And it kind of, went from one little vacation to the next because of the cruise for her birthday and our anniversary. And then of course the move. And hopefully in the next couple weeks, we can wrap up summer with some more good memories, maybe at Adriana's finca.
Hey, there you go. It's funny you say that because one of my best memories in the summer, and again, I'm going to age myself, but do you guys remember Nick at Night in the summers? So that must have been in the 90s. So I remember growing up with Nick at Night, and every night was a different like throwback, black and white show. I Love Lucy or Bewitched or I Dream of Jeannie. So all of those were just like, my grandma and I would just, specifically I Love Lucy, her and I would just laugh because, obviously like she was the queen of comedy at the time, so there's a lot of good memories there with my grandma for sure, watching that kind of stuff with her.
I remember I used to put General Hospital on because it would come out like at 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon and I wasn't allowed to watch novelas. That was like a big no-no. But my grandmother was like legally blind. She could see, but like not very well. So we would put the volume like super, super low so she couldn't hear that it wasn't cartoons.
Oh my God.
And then we would watch like 2 or 3 seasons. You know, it was like 2 or 3 years before, you know, you get over it as a kid. You're like, this is like pretty serious adult stuff. I'm going to go watch, what was it? Mighty Ducklings or
the cartoon?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a Darkwing Duck. Like all the little
the 3 little ducks, those DuckTales. That's so, oh my God, I love DuckTales. I'm going to go find that for Billy today.
Chip and Dale's was another one. Yeah, we could go. And then, and the Nickelodeon. I remember Nickelodeon had like a bunch of like Salute Your Shorts. That was like one of my favorites.
I don't remember that one. I think I was too old already for that one.
You're not that much older than me.
No, but I missed the Nickelodeon thing altogether.
Really?
Maybe we just didn't have that type of cable at home. I don't know.
Yeah.
We had like 3 channels growing up. That's it.
That was definitely like, sometimes we had it, sometimes we didn't. So when we had it, yo aprovechaba. I took advantage for sure. But yeah, there was a lot of fun memories being at home in the summers. But let me go check on Espumita 1 second.
Okay.
Sorry, she had a big blowout.
Like poop blowout or? Okay.
Mom to the rescue. Mom to the rescue. He needed that extra hand support, you know, since you have poop all over everywhere.
Oh my God.
She doesn't stay still, so I don't want her to like touch her.
Get it everywhere, yeah.
On herself.
Like the alligator roll. The alligator roll.
Well, that and like she's in the phase where everything goes into her mouth, so I didn't want her to like touch her.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But it built immunity, no?
No. Listen, I want to state for the record that this whole build immunity thing is crap. Whoever invented that phrase, and hear me out. Last week, we went to Hard Rock with our friends because it was a birthday. Oh shit, literally.
Oh, wow, that's nice. Amy just showed us her whatever she was sitting on. So what happened to Hard Rock? Tell me more.
Oh, so we were sitting together actually at the table and I look at Adriana. I'm like, I don't know where it came out of nowhere. I was like, how exciting that Billy hasn't been sick once this summer because she's not in school.
Oh yeah.
And then like when you hear the kids, oh yeah, cause they're building immunity. I'm like, look, you know what? It's bullshit because they get sick and then we get sick. Are we still building immunities? I'm in my yes, I know that's the answer, but I think like that phrase needs to be changed because you can see like it irks me.
Clearly.
So we must change it because it irks Benny.
Yes, thank you.
I'm gonna call the American Idioms police. Is that even American idiom? I don't have my dictionary handy, but I will have to check it. So, anyway.
I mean, I will say, so our son started school like at 7 months. And the first year was hell, like every 2 weeks. But now that kid's like a horse.
But is he 5 or 6?
No. Yeah, he's
5. Yeah.
They say that once it turned 5, after it turned 5, somehow like magically they become more resistant.
I heard 7. If it's 5, I'm happy.
But that kid doesn't get like I cannot tell you. And again, I don't want to say this, and now he's gonna get sick.
Don't jinx it.
God. I know. Like he's a. You know, he's like a horse. Like he doesn't get sick. I don't know.
That is good. Bjorn hasn't been sick for a while, so we took him. You know, he constantly has ear infections, so we took him to the ENT to see if he needed the tubes, and then they did like this nose spray, and he actually helped, so he doesn't need the tubes yet. But we'll have to test it out and see if when he starts school, if he still gets sick. Then we're going to have to do the tubes things. But so far, the spray is working. So we'll see.
Is it like a Flonase kind of thing?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. So, because he had fluid in his ears, not like an infection, but he still had a little bit of fluid. So he's been doing that. And hopefully that takes care of it. But it affects his speech too, because he hears muffled. And that's why his speech is not as clear. So I need to talk to the teacher about that because he does need help. You know, with his pronunciation. So either, I don't know if they have like speech therapy in-house or if I need to take him somewhere or if it will correct itself as the fluid starts drying in his ears and he doesn't get constantly sick and he can actually like handle it. So
We have a friend that had the tube thing done, and her son turned 3 this year, and he had it done recently. And he's also learning 3 languages: English, Spanish, and Russian. So like he's a smart kid, but the kid was struggling a little bit with speaking, and it was the same thing because the way that he was hearing was all muffled. So él como que sonaba que se le enredaba la lengua, and it was just like he can't hear well pronunciating, so it's like it's hard to come out. And my God, 2-3 months I haven't seen this kid night and day. Se le entiende todo since the surgery.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
That is good. So I'm kind of hoping that happens with Bjorn, because he uses some big words too, and then that's probably why he needs to work on his pronunciation. But some stuff like, you can't understand what he's saying,
Yeah.
Yeah, my favorite is when Billy tells me, I need to tell you something. I'm like, I don't really want to correct it because it sounds so cute.
Yeah, there's some things that they still say funny that, and it's within the normal range of their speech.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we tell her that she sounds like grandma when she says it, because my mom, like, she can't say cashier's checks. Like, she'll say cashier's checks. Like, it all sounds like So we think that Billy picked it up from her. Oh my God. That's something I should have probably talked about. Or we can leave it like for a story for another episode. But Billy is now officially in the stage where she is very hyper aware of everything and what everybody's talking about. And yes, the Friday we had Jenny and Jacob over. I don't know what Billy said, and Bill started giggling because it was funny. ¿Pa qué fue eso? She started crying. Like the first time where she's like, don't laugh at me. That makes me so angry. And I was like, no, babe, we're not laughing at you. It's so hard to explain to a 5-year-old, right? It's like, we're laughing with you. It's like you said something funny. It's not like a personal attack to you. But man, it took me like a good 10 minutes to get her off the whole, we were laughing at her stage. But she,
wow. Yeah, that's rough. Bjorn also gets on that thing. Like, he gets really sensitive about stuff, and starts like, don't look at me, don't talk to me, or move, or I don't know. He's going through a phase, so we'll see.
Amen. Thank you so much for like taking time to record this, because as we've mentioned, we've spent a very busy summer moving, buying places, taking vacation, handling the kids, and we can still take time to create this information and put it out there for others.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to reemphasize, like, take your time off, take your PTO. Like, I feel like there's a lot of guilt of taking time off, or like you get the side eye from your boss, or like, no, like we need to rest is not a luxury, it's a necessity. So,
amen.
For sure. I think
I do remember that.
I mean, we don't. It's hard. Like, I honestly, like, I have FOMO, and I'm a sort of workaholic, and I don't mean that in like a positive way, but I feel that it's harder to take the time, because you don't want to necessarily be disconnected, but it's good for you and your family, and also like building the memories and making sure that they remember these things. Just like we have fun memories of how we grew up and the things that we did in the summer, they're going to have those memories too. Like, actually, like my oldest was disappointed that he was not going to do this coding thing that was actually free through the school, because we had this whole road trip planned out. But then during the road trip, he was like, this is the best experience ever of my life. And I was like, oh, okay, great. All he did was be on a lake and climb rocks in Georgia. But for him, that was the best experience of his life. And I was like, all right, I'm doing something good. So let's just keep, keeping these things up. But, I think, like, in a nutshell, to wrap up this conversation, this awesome conversation we had, as always, it takes a village. Whether you're shuffling kids around with, parents, grandparents, family, or taking the time to hang out with them as well, taking like PTO so you can go and experience some of the vacation time with them. we all rely on each other, I think, to make sure that our children are well taken care of throughout the year, not, in the summer. And also, I guess we're not alone really on the struggles of being full-time parents and having to figure out what to do with our kids during the summer. So it's really nice to be able to see that others have the same challenges that we do and then kind of learn about how they go about it. And I think the tips for starting school, new school, especially since we're all like, for the most part, changing schools and changing environments, it's really important to talk to the kids about like the play-by-play, and also talk to ourselves and our spouses to figure out, for them to also mentally prepare for those challenging moments, because the kids may be having a really hard time and we need to help them through it.
We got a thumbs up. All right, that's it. It's a wrap.
It's a wrap. Well, thank you, ladies. It's so nice to see you after a long few months, and I look forward to our next episode and continue to work on this. So hope you all have a wonderful rest of the day.
Same.
Bye.
Disclaimer, this podcast does not provide medical advice. We're just three Latin moms sharing our story, hoping it will help you through your journey. Seek professional medical advice when needed.